Great morning. We are Group 2 and we will tackle lesson design in teaching writing. What is lesson planning and what are its purposes? Can a teacher at all levels teach without it, especially in teaching writing? What benefits could get teachers if they could plan their lessons? Most teachers find it difficult to do an effective lesson plan, and these are what we are going to discuss. The lesson design in teaching writing. But first, let us know what is lesson plan. A lesson plan is the instructor's roadmap of what students need to learn and how it will be done effectively during the class. Your lesson would give you the step-by-step procedure as to how to achieve your outcomes for the hour as well as the appropriate activities to be given to your students. Planning the lesson means the teacher could enter the classroom fully prepared to teach his or her lessons. If you plan for your lessons, it could lead to a meaningful and interactive discussions, and without a lesson plan, the students will lose their focus and also the teachers would be confused as to what to be done next. That is why lesson planning is really important. With lesson plans, teachers would approach each lessons with confidence. If the teacher plans for the lessons, the teacher have time to check understanding of the concept of the lesson to be taught to learners, and they will also give a chance to think of for the best strategy that can be used that fits for different learners. Lesson planning will give an opportunity to master his or her teaching. With lesson planning as well, teachers can manage classroom time more effectively, which means that the teachers know the objective or the target learning for their students. Also, the first activity to be given and the questions to be asked and how to end the lesson. In short, she or he already knows the whole classroom management. The teachers would be given the ability to align learning with standards or align activities with the outcome. When you do planning, you already know how to teach your topic, how to deliver it, how to assess your students' learning, and also the outcome. The preparations of lessons is quite demanding and it also takes a lot of time and effort. Additionally, lesson planning will enable you to track both your own professional development as well as the successful of your students' learning. Because of this, teachers should have a mastery of the subject matter in order to plan or design the lessons more effectively. And the next Miss Faith for further explanation about the importance of lesson planning.
Why is lesson design important? It is important because it helps to organize your work, improves preparation, and it has time effective. Like an organized teacher that will always be able to deliver the lesson within the given time frame, so it boosts their confidence. Of course, showing good example about pre-planning has a big impact for teachers to become a good inspiration and build their confidence to deliver the lesson. It will make the student realize the importance of planning ahead of time and adopt this habit for other disciplines of life. And the lesson plan is not only effective for teachers, it is also effective and it has strategy for those students who want to learn the basic in a slow and progressive manner.
There are 12 ways of teaching to improve writing of students. So the first one is new stories. It's important for students to learn rather, that different types of writing require different styles. Example, the structure and tone of a newspaper article differs greatly from a creative narrative. So, from the example given, it is stated that every piece of writing has its own unique use and structure and tone. So, and its own purpose. So, the purpose of a newspaper is to inform people about the news. So, you'll have to use a formal format and a formal writing voice, while A creative narrative focuses on stories or to create poems. So the the tone of the creative narrative will be more expressive than the newspaper article. The second way to improve the student's writing is to call out all characters. Writing fictional narratives can be daunting to many students who feel uncomfortable sharing their ideas. So breaking down the creative writing process is a good way to help the students get the ball rolling. So it is hard to create a creative narrative or something that deals with creativity because it can be quite the work, and it has to be put a lot a lot of creativity has to be put into it. So the main thing we have to do is to break down the creative writing process. So we have to break down the parts, and we have to we have to carefully think on how to do this part in order for us to have a outline, and so the process and the outcome would be polished. So the third way of improving students writing is to draft your essay. So essay writing is a major part of high school, so it's important to find different ways of engaging students to reinforce their learning of this type of text. Example: substitute a picture book for a secondary school novel. So it is important to let the students know that drafting your essay is important, because drafting your essay is a way to learn and to brainstorm ideas of your essay, so the essay would not be messy, so it would have a concise and direct pattern, and the essay will be clean. So it is important to emphasize that we need to draft our essays in order for it to be executed well.
Object creative writing. Rather than starting with characters, another way to prompt students to write stories is the object creative writing lesson plan. This is one of the effective and most used type of lesson design. Okay, so in this type of lesson design, we focus all of our senses into one object. And since there are 5 senses, it takes time and practice in order to engage all of our senses into one object. Another type of lesson design is letter campaign. So letters are a common type that your students will be familiar with. The purpose of this lesson is to encourage students to use phrases that express attitude and also emotion, which are found in letters of complaint. So we have to stress to our students that the tone of this should not be sarcastic or upset or angry, so that we can avoid confusion and also misunderstanding. Another type of lesson design is peer editing. So this lesson plan involves students editing the writing of their peers. Marking the work of others can help students develop an understanding of their own writing skills by analyzing what they would do differently. So basically, the students take the role of a teacher, and they may comment or check another work of a student.
7. Peer editing. This lesson plan involves student editing the writing of their peers. Marking the word of others can help a student develop an understanding of their own writing skills by analyzing what they would do differently. For example, teachers create peer editing assignment which two students share their own essays and then revise each other paper, and after the revise they will discuss their suggestions to improve the writing skills of each other. 8. Self-reflection. Writing about writing is one of the best ways to help students reduce the number of errors in their work. This lesson plan requires students to read over their work and identify one errors that occurs frequently, then rewrite the piece without the error. For example, this is the way of writing a self-reflection in lesson plan. First, we have presentation and research. Second, we have written plan. Third, we have presentation. And fourth, we have assessment. 9. Writing for a real purpose. Writing for a hypothetical purpose can leave students feeling unmotivated to produce their best work. Students respond to real-life scenarios that they're personally interested in. For example, the goal of the purpose writing is to express oneself, to provide the information, to persuade, or to create a literary works.
Great day everyone, I'm Marilyn Bouvier and I will be discussing about the examples of lesson design in teaching writing. So these examples are from the britishcouncil.org, and if you're familiar with that, it's like a review center if you want to pass the IELTS or the International English Language Testing System, in which it is recognized as the International English Proficiency Test. So as you can see, these examples are not exactly a lesson plan, but it's more like it gives us an idea about the different types of activities that we can use and the different types of worksheets that we can also use in order for us to effectively teach writing. So as future educators, we are very familiar, or we get used to write or create our own lesson plan, and it can be semi-detailed or detailed lesson plan, and of course it also has different types of formats. So for example, we have the traditional or 4A's format, in which we're very familiar with. So the reason why lesson plan is very important is because it serves like a guide map, so that we won't get lost in the middle of the discussion. So here in our examples, we just have to focus in teaching writing. And of course, writing is a very wide topic. Therefore, it also has a variety of subtopics. So let me just read the examples here in our PowerPoint presentation. So we have here the activities. So there are 5 activities. First is to let the students understand the question. Second is we can let them generate their own ideas, share their opinions, or through writing, of course. And then we have here to let them plan the structure on how they should write. Next is writing the introduction, and we can also teach them about how to write properly the essay using an outline. So we also have here 3 aims. So the aim of this example of lesson design is to help the students understand on how to prepare writing, and to help them identify and plan the structure of an essay, and to help them to write a clear and concise introduction. So those are the examples of what we aim. Meanwhile, we also have here the learning outcomes. So the learning outcomes is that for them to be able to understand on how to effectively structure their essay and organize their thoughts through writing as well. And of course, to let them develop their critical thinking by analyzing 2 different introductions. So we have here from the after the learning outcomes, we have here other informations. So again, in writing a lesson plan, we have to remember that it should also be SMART. So meaning S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for attainable, R is for relevant, and T is for time bound. So we have here the time. which is 45 minutes. So we also have to allot a specific time in accomplishing their own activities. Also, we have here the level, and I believe it's like the grade level, so that our lesson plan is according to what our students know, and of course, how we will be able to enhance their own learning. And also we have here interaction. We have to be specific. Of course, we have two types of education now. It can be through face-to-face, or it can also be through online, which is online education. Next is we have to prepare the materials as well. So here in activity 1, it is actually like a detailed instruction or procedure on how are we going to conduct the activity using the worksheet. So more likely, it can be included if our lesson plan is detailed. And we also have here the worksheet 1, which is understanding the questions. So here we can present different types of question. It can be thought-provoking, it can be about the latest issues, or anything that is related to writing. And also, it should test the student's ability to understand the question, which is in connection with the comprehension of the student, as well as the critical thinking skills of the student. So in providing or conducting an activity, we also have to set a limitation in our instruction. So for example, here in our worksheet, it asks whether the student agree or disagree to the example question, and the limitation there is that they only have to write 250 words. So what else? We can also use true or false, or we can also provide analysis questions. And if we are focused on learner-centered type of teaching, then we can let them learn together with their classmates. We can group them so that they can brainstorm together with their peers. So that is all, and that means we can use traditional assessments in teaching writing. So let's hear more about the examples from our next reporter.
So here at the 4th page of the example in lesson design in teaching writing, the teacher made an activity that is about the structure, or making the structure of a essay. So the teacher titled it as planning the structure, which is about the making the flow, or what is the flow of an essay. Next, the 5th page is about the writing the introduction. So in this page, or in this activity, the teacher made it for the student to make or to understand how to make their own introduction by themselves. So in this last page, this is about writing an essay. So the teacher made an activity that will let the student to make their own essay with their own idea, with their own flow of idea, and the teacher used this as a reference on what are the students, or is the student learned from the past activities that they make.